Hey everybody, it's Margitt. It's week 6 here. It's my final week. I'm getting ready to go back home to Michigan. And I wanted to share this week. This was probably the biggest week that I have been waiting for. It was really big energetically, and I feel complete. And I'm really ready to go home, and I feel very satisfied and complete of this journey. So I just wanted to share what happened with you. This was the week of when we had the 11/11, November 11th. I'm not a big astrologer. I follow it a little bit. I just knew that Mercury was going over the sun. We were going through some kind of gateway, and I knew that the energy was going to be heightened. And so sometimes I get real sensitive. But after last week, with a lot of the intensity that I was processing, I really had a hard time sleeping. I felt really anxious as I was processing so much of the information and guidance that I had gotten from the healers that I had experienced. So I thought I was going to do some YouTube videos on Monday, and I woke up with a fever. And I had no other symptoms but a really, really bad fever where I was so chilled. My back, every bone in my body ached. Like my eyeballs hurt, my fingernails hurt, my teeth hurt. And I just thought, oh, wow, like what is going on? I don't have any symptoms. I don't have any cold symptoms or runny nose. I thought maybe if I had a UTI, but I didn't have any symptoms of a urinary tract infection. My stomach didn't hurt. I had no pain, no cramping, no nausea, no vomiting, no diarrhea. The only thing I had was this huge fever with lots of aches and pains that came with it. And so I feel like this was what I was really waiting for. It was really my physical body just really burning off the everything and just coming into the light, and whatever doesn't really need to reside in this body was just really being burned off. And I got that by going in and out of sleep throughout the day as I was heating up and releasing the heat and heating up and releasing the heat. I could feel the heat like from my heart, my solar plexus, just like radiating heat. It was just the weirdest thing. And it happened in a cycle that was pretty quick. I haven't had a fever in a long time, but it was just like it was happening, that chills, release, heat, chills, that fever cycle was quite quickened. So I had a lot of anxiety with a fast heart rate with the fever, and when I was going in and out of sleep throughout the day, I had these racing thoughts of just old stuff that I had just been working on for years, and they were like on the edge of this fire, and they were just falling in the fire. And so I knew that this was not an infection, that this was part of the process that I had come here. And I said in a couple weeks video a couple weeks ago that I wanted to have a ceremony, and I really wanted to have like a burn ceremony on the full moon, which is going to be the next day. And I think it's hilarious how the universe is so divine and chuckling that this was kind of like my burn ceremony. I really feel that that was true. So I felt better after about 12 hours. I was fine. The only thing I did is I had a headache because I wasn't eating, or I was forcing myself to drink just sips of water, but I didn't have any coffee, so I was having this horrible coffee withdrawal headache. But then the next day I was perfectly fine. I actually was ready to start the day, and I had things planned. I had bought tickets to go to Abiquiu to see the Georgia O'Keeffe, her house, her studio. And I really wanted to go, and if I didn't go, it was like, okay, I was just in the flow, but I felt really well. I got up really early, and I left at 8 o'clock in the morning to get to Abiquiu and to be at this appointment for to tour her house. So on the full moon, I felt amazing. I went to Abiquiu, and Georgia O'Keeffe is an artist that I was inspired by a couple years ago through some work that my husband and I did in Sedona. I didn't really know much about her or her work, and so I had learned about it there. She was very much a woman before her times. She was an artist, and she was world famous by the age of 30. And she used to come to New Mexico. She was in New York, a famous painter in New York, and would come to New Mexico. She had a friend here in Taos, and she would come here to visit. And eventually, she loved it so much that by the age of 64, she lived here full time. She used to drive around in a Model T up and down these dirt roads all around the mountains, and it was just really, really brave and courageous. And I just really think of this woman way before her times driving a Model T, and then finding the Spanish hacienda that was broken down. It was old, it was unlivable, and within 3 years she was able to find the people and create a home and a studio that was way ahead of its time, with electricity, running water. It was fantastic. We couldn't see the whole house because a lot of it still had that mud floor, and but it was very, very impressive, and the views were incredible. No wonder she didn't want to leave, and she lived there all alone. I mean, she was inspired by beauty around her from nature all day long. There was windows everywhere. So I really enjoyed being in that space and being inspired by Georgia O'Keeffe, and I left with that amount of courage, and also that at the age of 64 she was creating a new life for herself, and she continued to recreate herself over and over again. She didn't begin world traveling till she was in her 70s. And lived well into her 90s. I think she died around 96. So I was really inspired by her, from her story, and I left really just lit up from it. And it really is helping me gauge my way and giving me courage to move on and recreate myself. And I think we do that all the time as women, but sometimes I know that I was just getting really stuck for a long time. So after that, I drove out to, it's called Christ in the Desert. It's a monastery. You have to drive on a one-way road that's dirt for 45 minutes to get to this monastery, which I thought, oh, what the hell, give it a try. If I get scared or whatever, I can always turn around. So, but I did it. It was, you don't go faster than maybe 15 miles an hour, and I did make it, and there were people there when I arrived, and it's a very quiet little church, and it's a full staffed monastery of the Benedict monks, and so I was able to arrive right when they were ending their service in the afternoon, so I was able to hear them chanting, which was so beautiful. I'd never heard live chanting from monks like that, so it was really beautiful to hear that. And just to be surrounded by this huge mountain, and there's a beautiful river that runs through there, and it was just so serene. So I really enjoyed the stillness and the quiet, and able to just be with myself in this beautiful space. And they do have residents there, and they do retreats there. So maybe next time I'll stay there, because it was just really serene, and I like to be pulled away that far from civilization, and just being really, really silent was awesome. So I thought I was going to do a full moon ceremony on Tuesday night, kind of burn up the, whatever doesn't serve me anymore, because I'm moving on this new path. And I really realized on the full moon that night when I came home from Abiquiu that I had already burned up. I had burned up the day before, and was able to celebrate the full moon here, and it was really full, and it was really beautiful to be a part of that and feel her energy. So by Wednesday, I was hiking and just kind of tidying up, and kind of still digesting everything, but kind of feeling really complete. By the middle of Wednesday, I just had a aha moment, like, I'm really done here. My time here is complete. I've gotten what I needed to get, and I'm good. I'm really good. So I did have some appointments on Thursday and Friday, so I was going to leave, on the weekend, and they're a few days earlier than I had expected. I expected to stay later into the week. So I went up to Taos. I had met a friend 4 years ago when I was in Ojo Caliente. She's a healer and a writer, and she had come up to me, and was just guided by her guides and Mary Magdalene to talk to me and to teach me about her, about Mary Magdalene. I wasn't really familiar with her story at the time. I just kind of knew her from my Catholic days. I knew there was more to the story, and I guess at that time I was ready to hear it. So we had corresponded back and forth. She had recommended many, many books that I read. I ended up going to France and reading more about the caves and Mary Magdalene's life. And it really led me to the red tents and a lot of the women's work that I do now. And I really, I believe that she's always with me. She's been a big, I don't know what to say, but when I hold circles, she's always there with me and guiding me in this work. So I really wanted to see this woman and really just thank her and honor her for opening this huge gateway for me and letting me know what I'm doing. So she was so excited. She didn't really recognize me. She says, "I look so different." And that was really nice to hear, but she was really humbled and really happy that I had reached out to her and had the story, because she felt like she had just been a vessel and was just the messenger. And then, but you never know how you touch people when you are trusting your intuition and saying, God, I got to talk to this person about this or that, and what an impact on their life that it could make. So I really, really, really wanted her to know what an impact that was for stopping me and talking to me, because it has changed my life. So that was really beautiful, and it's always so nice to be in Taos in those beautiful mountains, and just kind of tidying up, cleaning up, packing, and just kind of reminiscing, journaling, just kind of like wrapping what my thoughts in the process. But I really feel that I'm done here, and I can't even tell you how grateful I am for this journey, and how many people think that, I'm just like, oh, that's so important, and wow, I'm so glad that you can take the time to do that. And so I said in like my last week video that this is so big. It's bigger than me. I feel like I'm doing it I'm healing a lot of my lineage through this experience, and I'm doing it for women for whatever reasons, that maybe they can get inspired to do something that they've been always dreaming about. And it may not be going to Sante Fe for a couple months. It may be, learning a new language, or going back to school, or maybe is going on a trip, or learning something new, or just taking time out of their day so that they can meditate and be with themselves and learn how to love themselves and take care of themselves. So whatever that is for women, I just wish that all women are inspired to find themselves, find that beautiful divine feminine being in there, and know how beautiful you are, and how you are so important in this life, and should be honored and worshipped as a goddess. So that's what this inspiration, of coming here, this is what I'm getting, that it is so big. And however this inspires you, I'm completely humbled and grateful. So I will be continuing videos. This is kind of the last thing of my journey. I hope you're all well, and if you're still listening to this video, thank you so much. Thank you for being on this journey with me. It's just been a blast, and I'm so grateful. Take care. Bye-bye.